firstborn son and wrapped him in bands and cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. In that region there were shepherds living in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then the angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped, bands of cloth, lying in a manger." Suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly hosts, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace among those who meet favors." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ. So I came out at 4 o'clock today to speak to a congregation that was gathered, and usually we anticipate that there'll be families and children, and of course I realized that I was probably the only thing that stood between some of these children and their next sugar cookie. And I take that seriously. But this last week I realized that this is a very different congregation. This is a different sense of community. And as I was sitting and been sitting through lessons for a while and letting them speak and letting the world around these lessons speak, and the world seemed really dark. It seems really troubled. And I just kind of let my mind coexist with some of those disturbances. Thought about Ferguson, New York City, and I thought about war in the Ukraine and Middle East and Sudan. I thought about Ebola outbreak in Nigeria. I thought about cyber terrorism and bullies. And it just seemed like the world's troubled. And then it just didn't seem like as bad as it together. You hear about cars being driven through crowds of people in France. You just kind of wonder, you hear the angels. The angels say, "Peace on earth and goodwill towards all." And how to come out on Christmas Eve and make some sense of that. Where I landed at first is to think about the world in which Jesus was born, and think about Emperor Augustus, Aeneas, think about the abuse of power and violence, the difference between those who had and those who didn't, the difference of education. The world was troubled then, as it is now. And God works in the life of a teenage girl who's unwed and brings the light of the world in and through her. And chooses to do it in a backwater town, in a place where she was essentially homeless. But God knew her, God favored her, and God blessed her. And that same pattern exists throughout recorded history. That we see examples of God knowing people, favoring them, blessing them, and we hear stories that change the world. And I don't know that we have to get terribly large with it and not recognize in our own lives one sense of trouble and struggle and disappointment, disillusion, and concern about hope. There's so much that goes on. And in the midst of this, a light shines in the darkness. And in the midst of this, people show incredible resources and resilience and the capacity to take on this life of God in such a way that they themselves can sense that presence for others. You know, Jesus, we always associate love with Jesus. I also always associate forgiveness. That I always believe that release the power of forgiveness in the world. And we sorely needed that, and we need it today, and as much as any other time. And taking on human form, the power of compassion, God would understand what it is to be human, would understand what it is to have to deal with loss, what it is like to wish that your friends could be something that they aren't. Jesus' friends, he had hopes and dreams, but at that time they weren't able to live that out. We are called to be that home for the Christ child. We're called to be that place that he can abide, that he can live in and through us. That we can be people who strive for justice and peace, people who respect the dignity of every human being, people who exude compassion, people who forgive even when they're hugely resistant to it. We're people that can reach out a hand and be there for someone else. I suspect the world was as big a mess when Jesus was born as it is today in many ways. Again, the amazing thing is that God was doing things at that time that no one saw. People didn't realize what was happening at the time. But God was doing miraculous things. God's doing miraculous things today. And God will and does and will for all time work in and through your life. So what I encourage you to do is I encourage you to take Christmas from here and live it out there. Live it with your families and loved ones, and let your light so shine before others that they may see your good works and give praise to Jesus